Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to this week's episode of Vented Uplift. I'm Chrisie Canny, your host, the creator of Vented in Brooklyn, the aromatherapy jewelry with a company with the mission of giving back and helping you feel good and do good every week. Kind of started during COVID. And I kind of like reminisced about this yesterday. How many amazing people I have had on, how many people I have interviewed. It's really been such a pleasure. So today we're having on Kristie. She's going to laugh at me. We just practiced her name and I'm going to say it again. And I've had her on before, Ferrugiaro. And we've had her on before, a friend of Inspire Girl authors. You're going to love her. And she doesn't know what we're talking about. I mean, we're talking about her book, but I want to ask her a little bit more about how hard it is to be an author. We got into this conversation recently with somebody and they're like, oh my God, yeah, you got a book. You're like a millionaire. It's out. And yeah, no, it's hard. And really talk about the importance of being a woman and supporting another woman and how we can all help each other. So we're going to bring Kristie. Ferrugiaro. I hope I'm getting it. I think I'm getting it right. I think she's going to be proud of me. So let's bring her on. I'm here for you. Hi, Kristie.
Hi, Chrissie. How are you?
You
did a good job. You did a very good job pronouncing it.
Okay, that's enough of that. Kristie, welcome so much. Thank you for coming on again. I think, but we had you on before the book was out.
Right? Yeah, like a long time. Yeah.
How long ago is that now that we were?
I don't even know. Maybe 2 years.
Were you still in Jersey?
Yes, I was still in Jersey. Yes.
Right. So a lot has changed, a lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So now you hold up the book, The Saga of the Selenixies.
Yes.
Even though it kept autocorrect kept wanting to go to Sage.
Yeah.
But saga is a word, so I don't understand. So I want you to talk about the book, about your dream, about your vision for people who don't know how it started. I know the story, so just fill everybody in, how you became an author and what brought about this story.
So it's really funny because it wasn't until I started the journey that I realized that I've always wanted to do this. And I wrote a bunch of children's books, like pre-K kindergarten books. And but they've always just sat in a box, and I never really thought that they would kind of go anywhere. And then as you were saying, during COVID, Jen Tuma Young from Inspired Girl is a good friend of mine. We've been friends since college, and her and I used to go for walks in our neighborhood. I knew she was a publisher. I had been at her events. I had been at signings. I had all the fun things. And I finally said to her one day, I want to write a book. She's like, well, what do you want to write about? And I was like, I don't know. I think I want to write kids' books. And I sent her some of my kids' books, and she was like, well, it's good. She goes, but why don't you write a nonfiction? And I was like, all right, that sounds like a plan. And I had a great idea I am the mom of 3 boys. And I had a great idea of writing a book about being very girly and now being immersed in, and at that point, this was 4 years ago, being immersed in dirt and trucks and sports. So I started writing that. And then out of, I guess in a dream, out of nowhere, I just started writing this story about these characters that my son and I were playing with fairy gardens when we were home during COVID. My youngest at that point was 4. So him and I were playing with dragons and knights and in fairy gardens. And so I started writing a story about these characters that came down, and then it evolved, and then it evolved, and then it evolved. And before I knew it, I had a 173-page book about mystical creatures that I created worlds for, and all sorts of interesting things that they were doing. So it kind of, I don't want to say it came out of nowhere, but it was definitely not what I was intending at first, but am so excited for now.
Yeah, I think, yeah, when you start writing, you think you know what you're going to be writing about, and then it just, if you listen to your heart, it just goes a totally different way.
Absolutely, yes.
So that was how many years ago
So
when
that
it started?
started in
Exactly.
2021. 2021.
All right, so we're at 2024. So
Yes.
for you, what was the process? So was the process easy? It was easy to get those 173 pages once it started.
Yes and no. Um, it was, it was, I don't say it was easy. It was, I mean, to get to where the book is formed now, definitely was a process of going back and editing and adding, and my publisher would text me and be like, I want to see it. And I would go back, and instead of just saying, oh, they walked into the village, I would go back and I would, write 1,000 words about what the village looks like so that you could see it. So it definitely was a process. The original book, as opposed to what this is very similar in its story. It just looks a little different. You know, this is definitely more in detail.
Yes. Yeah. So had the kids read it?
My boys, they read it now. They didn't read it during the process. Nobody um other than Jen, nobody had read it, or the editors, nobody read it during the process. Um,
That's interesting. When I wrote my chapter for Magnificently Made, I was like, I didn't let anybody read it.
no.
And then, I like wrote about the drunken story. So I'm like, it was like, it's like, oh, it's about to come out. And I'm like, oh, you know what? So Mike and my husband and I were in Atlantic City. We went to that old dumpy Irish bar that we love.
Oh, I love that place.
I know, it's great. Yeah. So, and I'm like, all right, I guess like, maybe somebody should read this before it comes out. And I just sat there and read it to him over a pint.
Yeah.
We just sat there, and
I read some of the parts of the chapters, like, to my husband, Nick, when we at night, when I was writing, because I did most of the writing at night in bed. Um,
hmm,
and
really interesting.
yeah, well, because once I woke up in the morning, like, once my day starts, the three kids going to school. At that point, I was working in one of the schools, and then you come home at 3 o'clock, and it's sports, dinner, homework, and then normally I wrote when I went to bed. So I would read him like little excerpts, like, how does this sound? And I swear he would just be like, uh-huh, yeah, okay, uh-huh. I don't even know if he listened to me, but he didn't really read the whole thing. I don't even know if he still read the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. I still don't know if my son has read it. And I mean, and the chapter's about him. So yeah, like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's simple. It's not a whole book. It's like, it's like how many pages? So
Yeah.
yeah. So when did the book come out
The
officially?
book officially came out on October 13th, 2023, which is my birthday. So
Yay.
I coordinated it so that I would release it on my birthday.
And so, like I said, like a little teaser, like, because I want you to like share, like when I'm bringing women on, I want you to share the hard stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So how easy has it been for you to be the voice and the salesperson and the
Oh
social
my
media
God.
person?
It's
And,
it's not easy. Like, I really, not that I really thought, but like, you think, oh, the best-selling authors, and you know, it's not easy. Like, you're doing a lot of it yourself. As outgoing and friendly as I can be, to promote something that I did, I'm much better at promoting something that somebody else did. I'm much better as a cheerleader for everyone else. But when it comes to my own stuff, it's not easy. It's not easy to be like, oh, you should read my book, look at my book, and so it has been, hard, and trying to, I don't know, you get in your head too. You're like, oh, it's not good enough. Is it not, is everybody telling me that it's really good because these are the people I've surrounded myself with, and they're pumping me up, but is it really good? Do other people think it's good? So it's not an easy process. And a lot of self-doubt, and I'm just not pushy. And I think that's like part of my problem. And that I feel like I need to make sure I have the confidence to, even though I guess, I don't know, the confidence to go into a bookstore and be like, hey, you need this. It's not easy.
It's not easy. It's not easy. Like, and I agree. And I'm like so much better for everyone else as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, like this, that's that, do that. But like when it comes to selling Vented, I'm like, oh, I really need to go back to those days of introducing myself, going into stores. And yeah, it's hard to push past.
Yeah. I almost find too, when somebody else is like cheerleading me and is like, oh my God, this is Kristie, she wrote a book. I'm kind of like, yeah, I wrote a little book. It's no big deal, kind of thing. Instead of being like, yes, I did. I wrote a book. You should read it. It's great. I feel like I like shy away. Like,
Do you think that is your upbringing?
I think it's my upbringing. Um,
I feel like it depends on like what kind of where you grew up and if it was okay, because we feel like it's like bragging,
well, I kind of do feel like it's bragging.
right? Even though it's something we should, be so proud of and
Yeah,
accomplished.
absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
this is, by the end of this, we're going to be like, we're going to get somebody like somebody that we know with the bookstore is going to order your books today.
I hope so.
I'll pitch it to, the bookmark shop in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So tell everybody. So let's go back. So like, I can give them this little clip. So the age that your book is for.
It's a middle grades book. Middle grades is a really large genre. So third through sixth, seventh grade probably would be where the book would fall.
Okay. And girl, boy, doesn't matter.
Oh,
What do
it
you think?
doesn't matter. There's a multitude of characters where so many people can relate to um all the different kinds of personalities that are in the book. So
Good.
yeah, girl,
And
boy,
it
it doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. And tell everybody what you used to do. You said you worked in a school, but what did you do and why you understand the stories, why it's important, those little characters.
So I'm a teacher by trade. I taught in Brooklyn. I taught in Sunset Park.
Go
That's
Brooklyn.
I used to teach in Our Lady of Perpetual Help. I absolutely loved that school. I loved my time there. I taught fourth and fifth grade there. And we did a lot of reading. I've always liked to read. So that the kids and we read all sorts of books together. And then I taught in Staten Island. I taught in New Jersey. I taught pre-K. I taught kindergarten. I subbed for a while. Now that I'm down in Florida, I'm back subbing. I love to sub because I get to meet so many different kids and I get to do so many different things. A lot of people don't like subbing because it could be like chaotic. I like strive on chaos. So subbing to me is so much fun. And I like to sub little ones. So I kind of stick with like kindergarten and first grade or my
Your niche.
subbing.
Yeah.
So so a lot of, and as I said, I have sons, so a lot of the themes and the stories that go along that are in the book are themes and that have gone along with through my years of teaching the kids to be kind, that teamwork always is the best. So
Teamwork's the dream work.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So what do you think that kids those age need the most?
Um, they, a lot of them, they need to realize that they have strengths and they have weaknesses, and that's okay. And that their friends have the same strengths and, different strengths and weaknesses. And that's why we all kind of need each other, so that in order for us to flourish and strive, you kind of take a mixture of everybody's strengths and weaknesses, and that's what makes the team. There's a quote from Mother Teresa that a friend of mine had brought up to about our two sons years ago, and her quote was, "There are things that you can do that I can't do, but there are things that I can do that you can't do. But together we can do it all." And
Right.
that's really the whole theme of the book, is that togetherness is always better, and that together we can do it all, and live a good life.
That's beautiful. So the characters are, so tell everybody it's a little bit about the characters. They're like what they're based on and a little
Um,
taste.
so they are magical creatures that were encased in crystals. So they each have some crystal properties, um, and they emerged from these crystals. So they have different characteristics that kind of go along with the different crystals that they were, encapsulated in.
Such as, so somebody who doesn't know, like,
Okay, so Chantal, she was encased in rose quartz. So she is very loving. She's very compassionate. And so that's what rose quartz kind of brings. It's like the love stone, the compassion stone. So that's, each one of them carries the characteristics of what the crystal holds.
right. And then this was, you plan it to be a series, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we're looking at another 7 books.
Wow.
Yeah. Originally I was thinking 3.
Great. That's what I thought. Okay.
I was thinking 3, and then Jen came back to me and she's like, "I got an idea for you." And she pitched it to me because in the book the characters go through the 7 chakras. They go through 7 different lands, going through the 7 chakras, in order to be able to get back to their homelands. And she's like, "What if we wrote a book about each one of them, each one of the lands that," and I was like, "Huh, I could do that." I was
So,
like, "All right, I could do that."
so how many have you written so far?
Um, I have 2 and 3 are kind of mapped out. I have a little of 2 done. 3 is like mapped out of what it'll like, the storyline, the essentially the problem that they're going to face and how they can fix it. That's it so far. So
Right.
I'm trying to get 2 and 3 done, and then I'll move on to, you know, the rest. So, and then on top of that, I have a couple of other little projects that I have written. So I kind of go in different directions. So, so there could be
So
another
children,
project.
adults, where are we going?
Yeah, I started working on one adult book. It's kind of um, it's a adventure mystery book, and it's
Oh,
very sweet, and it kind of popped out of nowhere. So, so I may dive into and writing some more of adult books.
I love it. To me, like when you say you write at night, I'm like, oh, like as soon as I like go into my room, I'm like, and I was always that student. I was terrible. Like if I like sat on the couch and like tried to study, I was like asleep. Like even if it was
Yeah.
4 o'clock, I'd be like, so I can't even envision, like I would have to get up like at probably like 4 to write.
Oh
Like,
no, I can't do that. No, you don't want to see me at 4 a.m. That's just not. I try to write like during the day if the kids aren't here.
okay.
And if I don't have a sub job that day. But sometimes it comes. I feel like I'm really affected by the moon cycles. So when there's a full moon is when I write the most.
Huh.
So, and actually the Selenixies were moon lovers because that's how I wrote most of the book, was during full moons.
Hmm.
Where I guess like the creativity kind of comes alive and I write the most. So,
Interesting.
yeah, I don't
Okay.
know. And
So
I feel,
go ahead. No, no, go ahead. Say it.
oh,
What do
I
you say?
feel like sometimes they just almost like just start talking and it's like, "Oh, you got to get this down."
That is great. Interesting. Okay, well, we're all gonna have to pay attention if that's when we're most creative. So where do you see this? Like, so somebody's listening, or there's what do you see this growing into? Do you see it like, I know we talked about you want characters that you could sell, or maybe, or children's jewelry, or like a book plus kind of thing, or children's workshops going into schools, or a series on TV? Like, what is your dream?
I would love to see it as a movie, or a series on TV. I think the characters are so relatable. I think it is what kids need. Um, it I think it would be a great series for them to to see, and it's something different. I feel like a lot of the television is the same thing. My son's watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles again. Like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were out when I used to babysit at 13 years old.
Yeah.
So it's like he's watching. I feel like it would bring a fresh perspective to school, to television. Um, I have gone into a couple of schools, and so that'll be kind of in the future going forward, to help with social emotional learning, because it's definitely a great tool, um, for that. Uh, and yeah, I want to see dolls. I want to see backpacks. I would love all of that stuff. Would be so awesome. And as I said, there are so many different characters that everybody can find somebody that they relate to.
Beautiful, beautiful. So how do you keep that dream? We talked about like that fear of selling, but so how do you push through to your dream? As
I don't
in,
know, navigating that, Chrissy.
do you find it like, so I was saying, like, how important it is to be with other women that could push you to your dreams.
Oh, absolutely. You have to surround yourself with people who are like-minded. And especially when you do have a negative thought, like, you need somebody who you could say, "Well, I don't know if I'm qualified for that." And they're like, "No, go for it. Do it. Do it. Do it." And that's the only way you're going to get anywhere. Um and definitely need a gentle push from behind. We all kind of need
Yeah.
a push. Yeah.
No, sometimes you like need to throw me in the track. Like it's hard always being like, we get that talk in our head, when it,
Yeah.
it is.
Well, and sometimes too, with life of, my kids are still young. My oldest is 15, and then I have a 13 and an 8-year old. So we're still on the pack of, okay, got everybody off to school. Okay, everybody's coming home from school. Who has practice? Who has religion? Who has scouts? All right, you're going here, I'm going there, drop off, pick up. Who's making dinner? Who's cleaning up from dinner? And before you know it, it's 10 o'clock at night, and you're like, oh, I didn't do anything today. So I try to put a little time in there for myself to say, okay, you need to try to do something. But sometimes it doesn't always work.
No, and the month of February, it's all about, self-love and I'm not all about Valentine. I'm all about like finding the love for yourself. But do you find joy from writing? So is that your self-care?
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes I am a really avid reader. So if I'm not writing at night, I'm reading at night. And sometimes as I said, the voices don't talk. Sometimes it's just not, I can't, I could stare at the computer screen, and nothing really comes out. But I could read 50 pages in a book, and then go to bed. So if
Beautiful.
I'm not writing, I'm reading
Read.
something.
Okay, yeah, you love words. I mean, as
Yeah.
a keeper, you love words. So, let's change the topic for a second.
Okay.
Okay. So, what's it like living in Florida where there's sunshine and the sun sets an hour later?
It is so nice. I will say it's chilly here right now. The last couple of days have been cold, but it is so nice. Like where I'm sitting in my bedroom, I can see my backyard. The sun is shining. And I love it here. I love the warm weather. I don't like when it gets cold. I'm in northern Florida,
Okay.
so we still get a fallish, but the the cold is different. It's like a wet cold. So I don't love that part, but like Saturday it's supposed to be 85 degrees. So I plan on at some point making my way. I'm only about 5 miles from the beach. So making my way down to just stick my toes in the sand for a little bit. Um but yes, I love living here. It was probably one of the I don't know. I want to say it was a good decision us leaving. It was hard because I left before my book was published. Um, we moved before my husband had retired. He's home. He retired now. He's down here. But we did. I left family. I left all the friends up there. But I I enjoy Florida. I enjoy the sunshine. Even when on we have gray days, we still get sunshine at some point during the day.
Yeah. I have family down in Boca. And
Oh, my
so,
mom lives down there.
oh, okay. And then we went away, what was it, the second week of January. I'm like, all right, I'm booked, took my mom, my husband, my daughter. I'm like, all right, we're coming. I need sunshine.
Yeah.
There was like none. And then they're like, I've never seen a gray like this. I think you guys brought it with you. But
Oh no.
just the sun setting like
Yeah.
later, I was like, oh. And I just looked at my husband. I'm like, listen, next year we're doing like, I want to be a snowbird.
Yeah, you should. There are so many people in our area that come down and they just stay from like December through March and then they go home.
Well, that's a little too long. I couldn't give up December and I couldn't give up. There's March Madness in this house. My husband's an Irish musician. So
Ugh,
they but
yeah.
like just like 3 weeks in January, I think would just be so healing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely a different um just a different world. It really is. And no snow. I hate snow. And there's no snow. No snow.
And your hair
It's
is loving the weather. Your hair
oh
looks
yeah.
great.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that was just my little side thing. So everybody's got to go buy it. Saga of the Selenixies.
Yes.
It's great if you have a middle-aged child. And if you're a bookstore and you're looking for an emotional, say an emotional learning,
Social immersion,
emotional,
social emotional learning.
this is a great book. And Kristie comes from a place of, she was in the classroom. She sees what kids need and they need to hear. So let's teach our kids some values and some kindness and what we need more in the world of. So you can follow Kristie Ferrugiaro.
Yes.
Kristie_Ferrugiaro on Instagram, and you can go buy a copy at KristieFerrugiaro.com. I'll have the links up. But even if you want her to come in your classroom and read to the students, or who knows,
Yeah.
where are you in
And
Florida?
if you are, we could do it virtually too. It doesn't have to be me in
Okay,
person. So
yeah,
we could do
that
it
is so
virtually.
true. All right,
Uh-huh.
so yeah, so Kristie, thank you so much for
Oh,
coming on.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we're gonna. I'm gonna every now and again. I'm gonna ping you and be like, push.
Yeah, exactly. Look, wait, I have my bracelet on. One of my bracelets.
Aw.
I have
Yeah.
one of my vented bracelets on. I had to keep it on, so keep me calm.
Yeah. I mean, people don't see like before I get on, like I always like even like when I was on the Joy Manganiello show, I had everybody backstage sniffing lavender with me. Like, Kristie, give me a hit. Give me a hit.
Yeah, I like adaptive. That's my favorite. So I put adaptive in there before we came on.
Very
So.
smart. All right. That's my mom. Good job, ladies. Thanks, Nana. So Kristie, have a great day.
You
Enjoy
too.
the sunshine. It's gray here, but at least the sun finally came out for like 6 days.
Oh, that's
Maybe the sun did come out. So have a great weekend, everybody.
you too. Thank
Updates:
you.
the F cancer product still remain half price, so you can gift anybody. And we have 2 schools that we're working for that I'll put the numbers. So Malloy University in Long Island, we're helping them raise money for a scholarship after a teacher who was going to graduate program, and she passed away of cancer with in 3 months. So that person, Trisha Crash, is going to be on with us Monday night and talk about that. And PS45, we're helping raise money. So just go on. I'll share it up in Instagram stories so you see the discount code. You get 15% off and they get 15% of the sale. So thank you, everybody. Kristie, have a great one. When you
Yes,
come
you.
to New York?
I don't
New
know
Jersey.
yet. I have to make another plan. I have to get the boys want to see their grandparents and they want to see their friends. So we're working on it. Maybe early summer.
Okay. Well, hopefully I'll see you then.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Stay on 1 second. All right. Bye,
Okay.
everybody. Have a great
Bye.
weekend.